Punk Revolution now. Today we are going to be reviewing the Shaggs, Philosophy of the World. This is a fucking magical record. I love this record. I've been listening to it a lot lately, really hooked on it right now. I even recently bought it on vinyl, the 2016 repressing, which is absolutely gorgeous. Comes with all these beautiful photos of the band playing and all this shit. It's a great thing. So yeah, I actually really like this record a lot. Lots of people will tell you this is the worst record of all time, which I understand where you're coming from, because for a lot of people it's just unlistenable junk, but I really enjoy it, and so do a lot of other people. This is by no means the worst record ever. This is a fucking sick record. I will defend the hell out of it. Let's get going, because this is a very interesting record. Let's start by taking a look at the album cover. This is a cute little cover of the Wiggin sisters, aka the Shaggs, getting ready to play for you. It's kind of a cute, funny little thing. You know, you got these three teenage girls who think they're gonna be rock stars or whatever. It's kind of a, it's kind of a funny story behind this album, but also kind of a sad one. So it starts with their dad, Austin Wiggin. His mom was like a palm reader or something, read his fortune and said, okay, you're gonna marry a strawberry blonde woman, you're gonna have 2 kids after she dies, and then your daughters are gonna become rock stars or some shit like that. I don't know. And he married a strawberry blonde woman, had 2 more kids after his wife died or whatever, and then he's like, you know what, fuck it. Maybe there's something to this prophecy. I want to take my daughters and make them play their fucking instruments all day, every day, for years, until they can record an album that's gonna be so dope and they're gonna be rock stars and it's gonna fulfill the prophecy. So this album was prophesized, I guess you could say, and the end result is an album that many people will say to you is the worst album of all time, because it's clear these girls have no fucking concept of modern pop rock music theory and composition, none of that shit. Most people, when they listen to this record, they're just gonna hear absolute fucking junk. You're gonna hear the drums playing just like a completely different tempo, as if they recorded the drums in a completely different room as the rest of the band, and the drummer didn't even get to hear the song, so it was just playing like a completely different song or something like that. And then the vocal melodies are just so long and so confusing and awkward and don't make any sense. They're like like that the entire record. The lead guitar is playing along. It's so weird. Like, I think a lot of people are gonna listen to like 30 seconds of this and be like, screw it, I'm fucking out of here. And maybe my brain is like rotten from listening to so much music, but when I listen to this, I just hear there's just so many cool things you can pick up here that just make it so fascinating and honestly really enjoyable to listen to. Because when you take these young girls and make them practice every day for years without any formal training, it sounds like what they've essentially done is like invented their own little music theory that exists between the 3 of them. Yes, they don't have the traditional understanding of how to write a song, but they have so much creativity. They've kind of come up with their own little formula that fucking works. And honestly, like, there's some pretty complex things going on here. Like, there's a lot of things that as a formally trained musician, I would not be able to play with this band. Like, for me, if I'm playing in a band and the drummer is off by like 6 or 7 beats per minute on the tempo, everyone's gonna have to stop and be like, whoa. Let's get this shit back together. It's impossible to play when the drummer is doing their own thing. This fucking album, the drummer is literally playing their own thing the entire time. Just like, you know, the song could be like this, dun, 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 and the drummer will be like dun, 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 dun. It's like, how do you have these 2 tempos going on at the same time? It fucks your brain. That's complex. And then these melodies sound like completely improvised jazz solos, because they're so like random notes all over the place. But it's not random. They literally memorize these long ass melodies. Like, I can't the only place I can think of melodies that are this long are in jazz, and jazz is one of the most complex records. But here we have these teenage girls singing these complex melodies, and you know that it's actually planned out and not improvised, because the lead guitar is playing along with it. That is such a bizarre thing to do, to have the lead guitar just play literally every note along with these melodies. So it just emphasizes emphasizes how complex these melodies are, because it's like, not only are you gonna hear the vocals singing it, these two daughters singing it on top of each other, slightly off key, but then you're gonna have the freaking guitar playing along too, and it's just like such a dizzying effect. And then you have the guitarist playing these chords that just are like, they don't make sense. They're just like totally dissonant, totally just like not like, you know, major chords are gonna, they're just dissonant random notes. And that's such a cool effect too, because it's like, that's like more uniqueness to this record. It sounds like freaking like experimental rock. Like, okay guys, I just had this brain blast. Drummer, play the wrong tempo. Melody writer, let's make the melodies really long and complex like jazz. Guitarist, let's put the lead guitar with the melody, and we're also going to play these really dissonant chords, and hopefully it turns into something good. And guess what? The end result, for a lot of people, is unlistenable, but for a lot of people, and there's a reason this album is still talked about today and it's still selling and doing great, it's so charming. It's so charming. You have these three girls who like invented their own fucking music theory, essentially, playing these complex songs, and their voices are just so like, just so sweet. It's just such a sweet, charming little, it's very like twee. It's like twee pop. You know, it reminds you a lot of like Beat Happening or Moldy Peaches, where the performance might be a little sloppy and a little, you know, like not so perfect, you know, slacker rock, whatever, fuck it if we play the wrong notes. But the point is that the charm and the personality is there, and that's so endearing and just, it's a beautiful thing. There's a ton of that in this record. I love the lyrics on this record. The lyrics here are like a door into the mind of the Wiggin sisters. You can see that they're so fascinated and so thoughtful. Like, this is a very creative group of girls. They're thinking really hard about like what it means to be in this world. The album is called Philosophy of the World, and they've got some sort of like a little bit of like almost kind of authoritarian ideology kind of slipping in there about like obeying your parents and obeying the rules. Why do people break the rules? The parents are there to give you rules because they love you. Like, it's like really weird. It's like they got some like, you know, a little bit of like religious stuff in there too. It's very like strict dad forcing these kids to play music vibes, which is what it literally is. They had a very strict dad who forced this whole fucking stupid thing, but I'm glad he did it because the music fucking rocks, even though it was probably not a very good time for the daughters who were involved. But the music, I mean, it's so freaking charming. That's the bottom line. But there's actually a lot more to this record than charm. There's a lot of really cool, funny decisions they make through this album that just shows creativity. The creativity and the ambition is there, even if they don't have the technical skills to make what's technically a good album. You're gonna hear some weird ass fucking drum solos where they're just playing all these things kind of trippy, like the song My Pal Foot, which is like, My Pal Foot is a fucking masterpiece. That song is so sick. That is like the extremes of this album taken to the extremist, the extremely weirdest melodies, the extremely weirdest drumming. Go listen to My Pal Foot if you listen to one song from this. Listen to how that song opens with a fucking drum solo and then closes with the drum solo. It's just so sick. The only flaw with this record is that I feel like with the second half of this record, I'm not as compelled by it, because you do kind of pick up the formula a bit of how they put these songs together, and I just feel like the first half has more twists and turns, while the second half feels like, okay, they've come up with this formula and they're just kind of gonna repeat it a few more times. I mean, the second half has plenty of interesting moments, but it's kind of a dizzying and difficult listen, and by the second half of this record, once you get the idea, you might not want to really listen to it anymore, but it's still like a really cool fucking record at the end of the day. So I'm giving this an 8.9 out of 10. Like, literally, like, so enjoyable, certainly flawed, definitely not one of the worst records of all time. This is not just a novelty record. This is like, I love it. I love the way the drums, I love the tone of the guitars and drums. I love the way it's mixed. I love the way it's mastered. It just sounds so good. It's so stupid. Like, it's so good though. I could go on and on and on about how much I like this record, obviously. So I really just wanted to set the record straight. The Shaggs, Philosophy of the World. Good record. I don't trust people who hate this record. That's like, you know what I mean? That's one of those records where if you don't like this record, I'm a little skeptical of your music taste. Okay, if you don't like it, that's fine, but you gotta at least admit that it's kind of fucking sick, okay? And beyond just the funny backstory and the funny music, it's fucking sick. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you like my videos. My channel is growing very fast because of you. Let's hit 3,000 subscribers today! Now! Punk Revolution. Now.